The Pick Six Podcast, talking all things NFL.
Hello guys, and welcome to the second episode of the Pick Six Podcast, discussing all things NFL. It was a bit of a quiet weekend, wasn't it? Don't think there'll be much to discuss today. I am not alone, of course. You can see us for the first time. The first episode was just an audio podcast, which you can hear on all your audio podcast websites, Spotify, Apple, Acast, all the usual. But we're here on YouTube today, and I'm not alone. We have Luke with us, who's going to be a regular on the show, as you can see by the cool graphics I've done. He's a Seahawks fan. Just introduce yourself, Luke, and we'll crack on with the show.
Thank you very much. Hi guys, I'm Luke. Been an NFL fan since I'm about 8 years old, but I'm the Seahawks fan, obviously. But first few years of watching NFL was good for being a Seahawks fan, but lately it's been a bit hard. But we'll come around again soon, hopefully.
Let's hope so, because I'd love nothing more than an NFC Championship game next year of the Cowboys and the Seahawks, because it just made for good viewing on this podcast. But yes, of course, it was good. It was tongue-in-cheek when I say it was a quiet weekend. It might have been the best playoff weekend ever. I just
Definitely.
Easily some of the best games, the best players, the best games. Last weekend, Super Wildcard weekend, wasn't so super. It was more meh. No second half lead changes. Some blowouts, these aren't my words, these are Big Ben's words. Some crappy teams, including the Steelers and the Eagles that got blown out. My Cowboys, unfortunately, became stupid and tried to run a QB draw with 14 seconds left. Patrick Mahomes had less time. I know he had timeouts, but he had less time to drive a field, and he did it, so I'm still not over it, and I probably will never be. But yes, let's start with the best game of the weekend. It was, they saved the best till last. It could have been one of the best games ever. The Chiefs and the Bills. The Chiefs eventually winning in overtime, 42-36. What were your thoughts on the game? Going into it first, of course, because you had Mahomes, Allen, Reed, McDermott. The Bills, of course, won at Arrowhead in earlier on in the season, about week 5, I think, and that was when the Chiefs were really rocky, giving up interceptions, didn't have a defense. I mean, I still don't think they had defense on Sunday, but they had their offense back.
Yeah, I mean, like Chiefs throughout the season, I think they've been a bit, anticlimactic. They've not been as dominant as they have been, past few years. Like Chiefs, you just knew they're going playoffs straight away. Like start of the season, they didn't seem it, and like you said, the defense was just awful. But they could always get out of it because they could just always score more than anyone else. Because there's no stopping Hill, there's no stopping Kelsey. And I thought going into Sunday's game, I was like, the Bills, they looked the real deal to me last year. But obviously they had the downside. Like Allen was good, but he wasn't the level he's at now.
No.
So going into it, I was like, Allen's for me, he's in the running for MVP, and obviously I think that'll go to Rodgers or something like that, but he's in the running for me. He's one of my favourite quarterbacks anyway, so I was thinking they've got a great defense, they've got Stephon Diggs, and they've got Singletary, they've got all these weapons basically on offense. John Brown, John Brown was on another level on Sunday night, but I thought last year was disappointment for him, and I thought this year they've learned, they can come back and they'll finally turn over the Chiefs, but overtime told us not.
Yeah, I was listening to the Around the NFL podcast, which is a great podcast, on Monday morning going to work, and they gave that example that their playoff game last year, that was going to be their learning curve. That defeat was going to spur them on to win this year, right now. Yeah. Similar to the Chiefs against the Patriots in the AFC Championship 4 seasons ago, when Mahomes lost an epic battle to Tom Brady. But this is now their game that's going to hurt them. That's going to, they're led with 13 seconds to go. They could have had a squib kick. They could have done a high kick. Just take some seconds off the clock. We're going to talk a bit about special teams in this podcast, because it was a week for them. All 4 games had a walk-off field goal to take it to overtime in this game. The other 3, they had winners. But yeah, Gabriel Davis, obviously, first player to ever score 4 touchdowns in a single postseason match. He had the game of his life. But the 2 minutes, I mean, it was a great game before that, but the 2-minute warning hit, the Chiefs were winning, and then 4th and 13, Josh Allen, he ran through his life. All the pressure coming, he was running, he was escaping pressure, and it was a pinpoint throw to Gabriel Davis. And then that just sort of set the game alight. There was 25 points scored in that last 2-minute period. Mahomes threw for 177 yards. It's just, I've never seen anything like it in the last 2 minutes of a game.
No, I mean, what can you do in 13 seconds? I was thinking today, I was like, he just literally got from like his home, like must have been what, own 25,
yeah,
to the end zone in 13 seconds. Yeah, I know that you can play with it, but I think like the reason the Bills didn't win, like, yeah, I know everyone goes on like, oh, overtime should be changed, but to be fair, the Chiefs tried changing that when it happened against the Patriots.
They voted in 2019.
They're not against it. They think it's unfair that you don't both get, like, it should be like the college, where college it's just another quarter, innit? They just go at each other again for another quarter.
Yeah. And
I know that's asking a lot out of NFL players, because it's a different level to college. Like, it's a big step up physically, but they've got that many players. If that's the way we should go to keep games fair and just have another full quarter, then I mean, I would have stayed up extra long and watched that.
I think it could have gone on if it was the idea I like, where it's you have to match whatever they did,
Yeah.
So we could have been watching till now. We could have been getting touchdowns forever. Mahomes and Allen. Them two, are they the quarterbacks of the league now? Brady, Rodgers. I mean, we'll come on to them two, but. Are these two the face of the league? Are we going to see this battle over and over and over again for the next 10 years?
Yeah, I can definitely see that, because when Allen first came in, there was doubts about him, wasn't it? Like,
I wasn't convinced about him until this season. Even last season when people were raving on him, the yards. I just thought, there's Lamar Jackson, there's Kyler Murray in the league, but he's not small. Them two are very small, agile. He's a big guy with a big arm.
When you see him run, he can run quite fast for a big guy.
The strides, for every stride I do, he can do like 5.
I know, it's ridiculous. So Mahomes obviously set out that year first, didn't he, to get the feel for it, and then he just set the place alight and won MVP straight away, and there was no question about whether he was the real deal. But Allen's obviously had to come over his critics, and I just think he's just got strength to strength every year. Like, I'm not positive. Is this like his 3rd or 4th year? I'm not completely positive. I think it might be his 4th year this year.
Yeah, I think he was 1 year ahead of Mahomes. I think this was his 5th.
Yeah, so 4th or 5th year, whatever. But like, you're getting towards contract time and stuff like that now, and he's obviously he's delivering, isn't he? So you got to say, pay the man. He is your quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. They play till the 46 now if you're Brady, so you never know how long you're going to get him for. I think he's only my age. I think he's only 23, 24.
Yeah, he came into the league really young.
Yeah.
But
so if he can keep that going, then the Bills should be fine for a while.
They should. And I believe he'll come back next year, but there is going to probably be some change in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Buffalo.
I heard like some of the coordinators are being interviewed elsewhere.
Yes, the New York Giants GM was a Buffalo man, and he is being interviewing the offensive and defensive coordinator for the Bills. So it looks like they could lose one or both during this season, which of course causes some disruption. But the great teams always go again. I mean, the Patriots, the Bill Belichick tree of coaching is so long. It's not very successful. A lot of them do come back in the end, but it never affected them. They always rolled on. But yeah, it was just a brilliant match. No one deserved to lose that. That should have been the AFC Championship game for me.
That should have been this. I know it's not possible, but that was like
that was a Super Bowl.
Really.
Yeah.
There's some way that was possible. Then.
I mean, Mahomes is hosting his 4th straight AFC Championship game. Not even Tom Brady ever managed to do that in his career. it's just spectacular what he's doing. I mean, we talked about earlier the Chiefs wasn't right. We didn't feel at the beginning of the season. Mahomes, I felt he bought into his own, ego. Everyone's bragging about him. Oh, he's amazing. He can do no-look throws. I remember the Chargers game, week 2 or 3, where he threw the no-look interception. He threw some really bad passes, and he just sort of seemed he'd become overconfident. But I think Andy Reid's brought him back to the ground. Probably said a few harsh words that need to be said, and I think they're favourites for a Super Bowl now, and they're probably going to win it.
They're definitely favourites. Like, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the biggest Chiefs fan, but I'm not going to say it gets boring. But you'd like to see another team have a chance. But when you look at them, you think, is another team going to have a chance? Because they look like they're on it now. Like, if the Bills, who are arguably the second, like the favourites to win it all, can't beat them, then what's, because like if you look at the Rams, for instance, their defense is elite. Yeah, I can't even understand how they can afford all that. But it's a lot more like smarter than I am anyway. How they can afford all that, because it baffles me. That front four is just. If
only Stan Kroenke put this sort of money into Arsenal. Thank God he doesn't, obviously. Thank God he doesn't. But yeah, it's crazy, and I do see another dynasty coming on. I just don't think the NFC have brilliant teams, probably better teams than the AFC. But there's no quarterback or team good enough to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are just out here at the moment, and this will become. We'll be saying this year in year out. Mahomes in the AFC Championship, Mahomes at a Super Bowl, Mahomes with his 5 rings on one hand. I can see it happening.
We're at least guaranteed 10 years of it anyway, aren't we?
We are.
Massive deal. So.
$500 million. He's at least guaranteed $500 million from it. So who's really winning? I'd still say because we get a pretty cool quarterback. To
be fair, it's probably a bargain if they win that many Super Bowls.
Oh, it is, yeah. So now we are going on to an end of an era. It looks like in Green Bay, and maybe for the best player to ever grace a football field's career. Both are very uncertain. Both have not committed to coming back. Both lost in very different circumstances. Aaron Rodgers didn't show up. I know it was freezing cold, like minus 16 degrees Celsius. Don't even want to think how cold that feels. I could play it's minus 2 in England, so I don't even understand how it gets that cold. Tom Brady led a fight back, only to be broken at the last second by field goal. Let's start with Tom Brady. He's the goat, obviously. Yeah. The Bucs, they had so many injuries. They looked depleted everywhere. They were beating themselves in that first half as well. So many penalties. And Dominic Sue, who claimed Matt Stafford kicked him. I'm not a fan of a taunting penalty, especially when it's just a point or something like that, an action like that, costing you 15 yards. But there were so many silly penalties. I mean, Tom Brady himself got his first ever unsportsmanlike penalty when he had his bloody lip, which the commentators were making out like he'd been murdered. Oh my God, Tom Brady's got his lips. Oh, there's just a speck. Oh, never mind. But yeah, there was riled up. But then the Rams started to try and beat themselves. The 4 fumbles. Some of them were silly. The snap fumble where Matt Stafford wasn't even ready.
No, I couldn't believe that when I saw it.
But Brady, he did lose a comeback. He got all composed. He got the structure back in the team. He led that fight back. The 70-yard pass to Mike Evans was out of this world. But do you think this is the end for Brady? It's the first time ever he's not said, I'm definitely coming back.
Well, I was on Instagram before. I'm like, apologies for getting my phone out, but I just saved a couple of Bleacher Report. They shared a few quotes that he made. I don't know if he made it or someone had heard him say
from
it.
From the podcast. I think this is from the podcast.
And it just seemed like he's really mulling. Like last year he was mulling it. Probably the year before he was mulling it. But I think really now he's getting. He's like in getting towards his late 40s. He's not seen much of his kids growing up because he's always going to be on the road with the team, and he's always getting into the end of the season. So it's not like for him it's just September to December with him now. He's September through till to middle of February now, because he's always going to be like trying to get to the Super Bowl. He's not going to sit back and just take his money. That's not what he is. So I think he's just going to take the time. He's just going to evaluate. He's going to see. Obviously, Bruce Arians has come out and said that he's definitely coming back, but I think that's just so that Brady's reassured straight away. I think if Brady's not coming back, then Arians won't come back.
No chance Bruce Arians is coming back if Brady's not there. He doesn't have time for a rebuild at his age. He's won his ring. He can go on a high. He's done Tampa the world of good. But yeah, the Rams though, we'll move on to them. Obviously, Tom Brady, what a career he's had. I don't think we can sum up what he's done in just a few minutes. But yeah, I thought he played very well in the second half. The Rams, Matt Stafford, I'm going to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of Stafford. I think he's not the quarterback that's going to win you a Super Bowl. He's good. He's one of the best, but he's a bit like Jimmy G in the sense that they can at any time just implode, throw a stupid pick, and away they go, and you're losing by 7. But I thought he had a really good first half. I mean, he also threw a 70-yard pass to Cooper Kupp in the first half. I mean, when you've got receivers like Cooper Kupp, OBJ, who is somehow back to his best, I thought he was finished and dusted when he was out in Ohio, Cleveland. You know, he was just out there to, see out his career. I thought when the Rams got him, this is a massive risk, but it's paid off. He's absolutely he suits LA. I mean, he's a star. He probably loves LA, the sun. I mean, Ohio, Cleveland, it's a boring place in the Midwest. You know, LA, bright light city. He's got to love it there. But yeah, Matthew Stafford, I thought played brilliant in that first half. Then the second half, obviously you have the Cooper Kupp fumble. The Cam Akers one just before half time on like the 2-yard line was...
Oh yeah, God,
if
that
had gone, the game was over then. That's what really turned the tide, and that's what they need to cut out going forward, the Rams. I mean, of course, they also won. We've got to congratulate Matthew Stafford. Look at that, where he also led, just like Mahomes did, with a bit more time. The Rams down the field after the 70-yard, the touchdown to equal the game, to put them in field goal position. He was composed then. There was no fumbles, there were no mistakes. And they won the game ultimately. A special mention as well to Von Miller, who once again, people thought he was done and dusted. He's coming to LA, and he was putting pressure. That defensive front and the defense in general. Aaron Donald. I mean, it's great. Yeah. Like you said, how do they have the cap space for this?
I know, but it's like, it's win now for the Rams. Like, I know it was win now a few years ago when they got there with Jared Goff, but honestly, I think it's this or nothing really. Because
it's go home, it's go big or go.
It's going to be so hard for them because all these players are on like short-term contracts with a lot of money, and it's going to get to a point where they can't afford to bring them all back. It's literally they have to win now, and like Sunday. Yeah, they showed how good they were, but I think they also showed that they are very susceptible to pressure. Like, they're not like how Brady was 27-3 down, and he remained calm, rallied them all, and got back.
We've seen that before.
If Stafford and the Rams were 27-3 down, I think it would have been good night.
Oh yeah.
But I think if they can just start strong and just keep going, but it's when they face like in a bit of an obstacle or a hurdle, like they're one of the least fumbled teams in the league. I think before Sunday they'd only fumbled it 5 times, and then they go and do it four in one game. Like, just shows that the pressure of the it's the Bucs, Tom Brady. No, it's got to them. So, but what's going to happen if you face the Chiefs? Like, are they going to implode again? So, I'm not 100% convinced. The team on paper, the way they play is brilliant, but it's just when they actually are under high pressure, like that fourth quarter when, if you don't score and then they come and score, that could be a one-score match, and I just don't have confidence in the Rams remaining calm and being able to do it.
Yeah, especially, they're going to be, obviously, if they are going to be at home this weekend at SoFi, and then if they do win, they will host a Super Bowl, becoming only the second team to ever do that. And the first was Tom Brady's Buccaneers last year. So it's crazy how it could be 2 in a row after never having it. But yeah, I do feel Matthew Stafford's playoff experience, which is crazy to say how good. Similar to Derek Carr, actually. Derek Carr's first playoff performance was this year, and it showed at times. And I think that's going to show with Matthew Stafford that in against Jimmy G has playoff experience. He's got to a Super Bowl, and both are very unpredictable, dependable quarterbacks. But Jimmy G has this playoff experience. He knows what it takes to win an NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't pass much in that game against the Packers, in the Championship game a few years ago, and of course so far this year. But it'll be interesting to see that game. But yeah, the Rams on a last-second field goal, because everything was done with a last-second field goal this week, through to an NFC Championship game for the second time in 3 years? I can't.
4 years, I think. Yeah, 4 years, I think. Yeah.
Many Super Bowls ago.
It was 2018.
Yeah, because the San Francisco, three Super Bowls, yeah. It's going so fast.
I know.
Does it seem like that wasn't a great Super Bowl? Actually, we were in our house at uni. We had like a massive party, and obviously a lot of our friends weren't into American football. It got to like the third quarter, they were like falling asleep and stuff. It wasn't the best Super Bowl to introduce people.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one to sell it for, was it?
The Eagles scored a touchdown, did with the Rams, but what do you expect?
Yeah, it was not a good one at all, that one.
Moving on to Rodgers, he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. I know the $42 million over the cap, but I wouldn't call Green Bay a rebuild. It's just a few.
You just need a couple of pieces, don't they?
But they lost to the Rams. I loved when Rodgers did that. Against the Bears a few months ago, where he's like, "I own you, I own you."
Yeah.
Well, I think the 49ers have a case to shout, "We own you."
Yeah.
He's 0-4 against them in the playoffs. He just doesn't like him. First drive, I watched that first drive and thought, wow, it's got to be a good day for Green Bay. He was picking his targets in that freezing cold weather. After that, other than Devontae Adams, all the other receivers accumulate for 6 total yards. He's got so many trust issues. In interviews this year, there's been the famous vaccine issue where he's a bit, he lied basically about being he manipulated his words. The interview recently with the interview with ESPN, where it was in a 25-minute interview, he claimed he'd been silenced by the media after chatting, for 25 minutes. He's a very angry. He's the opposite of Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he helps trouble people. Antonio Brown, if I had to live with him, he changed that guy for about 6 months, and then Antonio Brown did Antonio Brown things. But Brady's all about that connection, try to help people. Rodgers, he shuns family members away, he shuns teammates away. It's all about him. And he went in himself in that game. I know it was cold. The 49ers didn't get anything on offense, but neither did the Packers. And instead of blaming your defense, who actually did quite a good job, or blaming the special teams, who didn't do a very good job, but you're still the leader of that team. You go out and try and make plays, and stop just throwing it to the one guy. There were so many times when other wide receivers were open, he just didn't throw it to them. He was always trying to force it to the guys he trusts. And I don't know what it is with Aaron Rodgers. He's 10 and 11 now in the playoffs. He's got a losing record. He's got one Super Bowl, which was 12 years ago. He's a great quarterback, but Big Ben Roethlisberger's got more Super Bowls than him. Peyton Manning, he can't be considered along these elite. He'll be in Hall of Fame, and no question about that. He's the MVP this year, but he's just a regular season quarterback to me. There's quite a few of them in the NFL. Brilliant in the regular season, but once it comes to off season, build the Packers a dome. If they can't play in that cold, just build them a dome. Lambeau's got the place for you guys if you're scared of a cold in mid-January.
I just think they can they're using the cold as an excuse, really, aren't they? But like you said, it's very much a clique with Rodgers. Like, if you're not in his clique, then he's not going to feed you. Like, Cobb and Adams are very much his sort of wide receivers. He fought so much for Cobb to come back this year. Yeah, and it's just, and like, how many times do you see it where, like, if you've got like a number one receiver and your team, obviously the team's going to know it's your number one receiver. So Adams, they're going to double team him. And then, if they've got good cornerbacks, they can just leave one on it. And then you've got Cobb and Adams both, covered, so they're not open. And then he's not like, he's got like Lazard. Why is he not throwing to him? Or he's got his tight ends. He's not doing it for the team. Like, if he wants to win a Super Bowl that much, then play as a team, because he can't get that on his own.
That's the problem with Rodgers. He wants to do it all himself. He has got a big ego, but you have to have a big ego. But he's got the best personality for a quarterback, I think, or the leader of a football team. Tom Brady, nice guy, charitable. The Mike, he's amazing. I think my quarterback, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, they're not horrible with the media. Maybe in the heat of the moment after a game, Dak Prescott said something stupid after the 49ers game. But overall, they're brilliant leaders for their teams. And Rodgers just isn't. There was all that fiasco last summer. I think they should have just called it quits then. Get him out the door. You could have got a good quarterback, probably. I don't think Jordan Love's ready. That's a problem the Packers have now, moving into this offseason. If Rodgers does want to go, I don't know where he'll go. If he doesn't want to be part of the rebuild, I thought at first Denver, because their head coach looks like it might be. It could be. He's in the final three. Their offensive coordinator. What's his name's escaped me.
I can't remember.
Hackett. I forgot his first name. So I thought that at first, but I don't think they're ready to be challenging for Super Bowls or titles, especially in the division they're in with Mahomes. Does he want to, can he win that division when Mahomes is there? Of course not. The Raiders, they're also in that division. So like the teams who are needing a quarterback, the Colts, they could be looking to move off Wentz because
they seem like my choice that I would go with. It'd be them all, and obviously he is a 49ers fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I know it seems daft. It's like a bit of a Kevin Durant in the basketball. If you lose to them, just join them.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. It's simple as that. It would be that would be a nice story if it was a nice guy, like going back to his hometown, play for a team he supported as a child. But yeah, I don't know.
There's no doubt he's gonna attract like a big package. Like if he does go on the trade block, if he does come out and say, I'm not paying for the Packers again, not like he did last year, he's actually serious about it this time, he wants to leave, he's obviously going to attract a big package. He's obviously going to attract 3 first-round picks, maybe even a couple of seconds as well. But then you got to think the other teams, are they going to want to disrupt what they've got? If they are like that off making a Super Bowl run, like the Colts, they have a really good team, but they are just a quarterback off. Are they going to be looking at Rodgers and think, yeah, Rodgers could come in here and take us over that edge? Obviously, you can, but if you've got a good team camaraderie and that's what you're built on having good team chemistry and something, and then you're going to bring in Rodgers, who's first and foremost is going to think about himself rather than the team, then...
Yeah, that's a really good point, because people go, he might look at what Brady did going to Tampa, turn them into a suit. But Brady is a nice guy. He built a community in Tampa. He moved there. He fell in love with Tampa. He was brilliant with Bruce Arians. AB got him there. He just settled there. Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem the sort of guy who seems to me he'd go there and integrate with everyone like he has. He doesn't do that in Green Bay. He has got his clicks, but obviously I think we've got to look at the Packers' miserable special teams. Quite embarrassing. They had the chance to go 13 points up at the half with the field goal. It was blocked. There was actually in the red zone, and then Rodgers got sacked by a brilliant 49ers defense, which we will talk more about in a second. But yeah, and then of course the play of the game, the 49ers became the first team ever to win a playoff game by just having their special team score a touchdown. They've been poor all season, Green Bay.
That's the first time.
Yeah, I think maybe a team's won with a defensive play.
Oh right,
just
okay,
a defensive, but not a specialty. Just a specialty. Because I think it is very rare. You block a field goal and then you win the game. Sorry, you block a punt. Yeah. But I found that crazy too. But yeah, they've been poor all season. I mean, we didn't even have the right number of men on the field when the field goal by Robbie Gould was kicked at the last second. It was just a mess all round.
Can we have a special mention for Robbie Gould, though? Like, because he is just...
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, not the fact that he's just an incredible, like, a kicker, but the fact that against the Cowboys, he was practicing his field goals whilst the cheerleaders were out during the ceremony. And then he's practicing over the Packers players as they're running through the tunnel. And I just thought, like, fair play to the guy. He's got, I mean, he can back it up. He's not all mouth. He can actually back it up by actually getting the kicks through.
I mean, we're going to talk about McFearless, as they're calling him in the States, in a minute. And as a young rookie kicker, to have like the guts to go, guess we're going to the AFC Championship, guys. But Robbie Gould at 40 years old. I love the Bengals guy. I can't wait to talk about them. But Robbie Gould at 39 years old to be still like doing this. I know a kicker you can play. Some play till like 45, 46, but he's just got the coolness. He just exuberates, confident, and he just doesn't care. I don't think he likes to ruffle feathers as a kicker. You know, when you go to that last second kick, you need to ruffle a few feathers beforehand. And the 49ers, and once again, there was no offense. Jimmy G just was being Jimmy G. I don't think we can. I said a lot about him last week in the Cowboys game where he gave my team a chance to go win that game. I'm actually quite. And then I started to wonder if we'd have beat Tampa. Obviously, we wouldn't have played the Packers because we were the 3rd seed. But I just got sad by that. But the 49ers were worthy winners of this game. I actually, in last week's podcast, I praised the Packers head coach, Matt LaFleur, saying he didn't get the respect that Shanahan and McVay did. But this is the 4th year in a row, whatever it is now, 3rd year in a row, he's balled it. You can't be the number 1 seed and putting a performance like that. I now know why he doesn't. McVay and Shanahan, they all came from... I saw a great meme, actually, of the Washington coaching tree when they hired Gruden as their coach. They had the chance, like under him, they had LaFleur, McVay, Shanahan, and they somehow ended up with John Gruden's brother. Classic Washington move.
I just don't see how that can happen. If you got them 3 underneath you, and that's who you end up with. It's just.
I mean, you deserve all the bad things that happen to you, Washington. To be honest. But yes, I can now see why they get to Super Bowls. They get to they get over the hump. Neither have won a Super Bowl yet, so there's still that question mark. And Shanahan has bottled a 28-3 lead to Brady, so we have seen it before. Brady coming back, but the defense of the 49ers though is great. I love Deebo Samuel. He's probably my favourite player to be watching at the moment. He's just a monster.
Brilliant player.
He's a monster, and he's going to cause the Rams problems again, just like he did in Week 18. Maybe he'll throw another touchdown pass. Who knows? He's probably better. I mean, he'll probably throw more than Jimmy G.
He reminds me a bit of like Taysom Hill for the Saints. Like wide receiver primarily, but you'll see him as a running back or and you'll obviously see him throwing it as well. So he's an all-round player. He's that player that you can't like. The beauty of him is you can't put a cornerback on him. You can't put a player on him because he'd be out wide and then he'll run across to check if they're doing man marking or zonal, and then he'll be part of the possession most likely, and that'll either be running back through Garoppolo to get the ball again and run with it, or it'll be running a route, which is very rarely runs a route these days. He's more used as like Garoppolo's second option, isn't he? Really, but yeah, he is one of my favourite receivers. I think how he was like fell where he did during the draft, considering how good he is. It's quite shocked me actually. Obviously, I don't watch college football, so
I don't.
When the draft comes out, I only ever hear about the top 5 drafts. Like I knew Burrows was good, and I watched a few of his highlights and stuff. I knew he was like really good player, but these players that you come out and then you see him and you think, God, why is he like a second round pick or a third round pick? And it just baffles me.
Yeah, I found that with we drafted Michael Gallup. I think he was a 3rd round wide receiver, and he's part of our front 3. When he's fit, he's the third receiver, or he could be even a second receiver. You got Lamb, Cooper, and there's Gallup. I think, I don't think it matters where you get drafted, to be honest. You can prove, Tom Brady proved that. But Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. And he was just throwing in at quarterback.
Russell Wilson was even later than that.
Yeah, exactly. Dak Prescott, he was never going to play, I don't think, really. Kellen Moore was in front of him at one point. That's actually quite crazy. When Tony Romo got injured against the Seahawks in pre-season, if Kellen Moore had been fit, he'd have started the season as quarterback. But no, it was Dak Prescott. It's just crazy how stuff like that happens. But yes,
he obviously didn't take that very well, did he? Because now he's decided to give it up fully and just become a coordinator.
Yeah. But finally, onto the last game we're going to cover, and the Bengals. No one had ever sent a text about the Bengals winning a playoff game.
No,
well,
never.
No, well, now they're texting
each other
about
like they didn't deserve to be there. Not deserve to be there, but it felt funny that they were there. Because last year they were still nearly dead last, and Burrows was getting sacked at 10 times a game.
And that's where his ACL came from. They've still not improved.
He was just getting pummeled every time, and there's just no one defending him. So you thought they'll come into this draft and they'll just get protection for him, and then they end up getting Chase. They end up getting Chase, and then it's now they're in the playoffs. It's but he's still getting sacked the most times.
We'll go get onto that. He was sacked a whole 9 times in that game. Which,
he's not seen ghosts yet, thankfully.
No, he's not injured. Thankfully, going into this, he seems good. He seems cool. He's the coolest quarterback in the league. I love them videos where he's laid back with his cigar, his cool sunglasses on. He's just so cool. He's a lot older than I thought he was. He came into the NFL quite late. He's 25 already, so he's actually older than Allen.
Yeah, he did his full college career.
Yeah,
which is pretty rare because normally when they're the real deal, they just as soon as they're eligible, they go for it, don't they?
Give me that cash.
Yeah,
but
But maybe he had his head screwed on a bit, didn't he? And was maybe because he got that ACL injury, he might never have come back.
No.
I know you don't hear of that these days, but he might never have come back. He
It's
might
crazy
have come back
how
and just been a
fast he
second
came
string
back.
then.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast he came back. I think it was 8 months. Normally,
Yeah,
about
quite quick for that.
11 months. But yeah, he's battled the Bengals for the first time since 1988, way before I was born, into an AFC Championship game, and the first time ever they won a playoff game on the road. It's his first time for the Bengals, so hopefully it's going to be the first time they win the Super Bowl, because I'm rooting for the underdog here. They're just so fun to watch. It's just this classic underdog story, They were just always so used to losing. Andy Dalton is cool. He had his limitations, and they get to the playoffs, and you knew they were out. They were one and done in the wild cards. They won't make any noise. See you later, Bengals. For 30 years this happened until Joe Burrow came along and was like, no. He said this week, this is going to be the norm from now on. Yeah, everyone's shocked and partying, but we're doing this every year. So just get used to it, guys. I love that confidence from such a young guy. Jamar Chase. Before Deebo Samuel, these last few weeks, Jamar Chase was just so fun to watch. The deep ball. But this game was so different. This wasn't about Burrow deep balling it to Chase. This was just good quarterback play. Like we said, the offensive line does not exist in Cincinnati. And this is what will ultimately cost them this week against the Chiefs, as much as I want them to win. To get sacked 9 times, you're not going to be able to win. That's not how you win football matches. Their defensive line's banged up as well. They actually played probably their best game on defense. Picking Tannehill off 3 times. But yeah, talking of Tennessee, the first play of the game he picked off. Ryan Tannehill, I came into this thinking, he's very dependable. He's got the experience. You don't ever think of Ryan Tannehill as someone who's going to throw you loads of picks, or Jimmy G sort of situation. He's quite dependable. His head screwed on. They're a more run heavy team anyway, of course, with Derrick Henry back. But yeah, the Titans just seemed lost.
Yeah, it's just Tannehill looked more like the Dolphins, Tannehill, on
Yes.
Saturday than he has, for the last couple of years. Like he's been, like when the Titans paid him, you thought, no, that might be a bit premature because he had just come from the Dolphins and he flopped there, but he showed it. He showed us what he was about. He showed us how good he was, and he showed that he was the right person for them. And like Titans were, honestly, they were my pick to go right all the way through. Like I thought, just because Derrick Henry was on his way back, he got activated off IR and he was ready to come back. And I thought, yeah, he might not be 100%, but not even a 60% Derrick Henry's probably a hell of a lot better than half the running backs in the league. And you can't stop him at the end of the day. And I was watching it, and like I've said to you, I went to sleep when the Titans were just. It felt like they were turning the tide. They were just starting to get their feet back into it. Derrick Henry was getting a few more yards than he was. They had that other running back who I thought was Derrick Henry for a minute, but he had carved out a 40-yard run, and I thought, right, this is it now. They'll just establish the run, and they'll just pummel them. They'll just keep going.
The game out, yeah. Run the clock.
And then I woke up to that, and I was like,
yeah,
what on earth happened?
Well, I will tell you what happened. You know what happens, but Ryan Tannehill threw a pick. That's what happened.
I know.
On the final drive, which led to another field goal, or the first field goal wing of the actual the divisional round. But Burrow drove down, got them into field goal, and that's when McFearless came out like, guys, I've got this. We've got the AFC Championship. Don't worry. It's not chip shot, it's not 20 yards or anything. It was a 52-yard attempt. And I'm telling you, if my kicker, Greg the Leg, who should be called that because he's absolutely terrible, had a chance to send us to the NFC Championship game with a 52-yard attempt, I just know he would not make it. And to have that as a rookie, like, yeah, I'm going out and kicking this. It's not a goal or anything. There's wind at play. It's the Bengals, for crying out loud. What will go wrong does go wrong for them. But he made it, and for the first time in 11 years, we won't have Brady or Rodgers in a championship game. And also,
feels weird.
the both number one seeds, which may be, I actually don't know this, but I think maybe it was Brady and Rodgers that year, are out and we will not have a number one seed. So it was just a crazy, crazy weekend with amazing quarterbacks, amazing players, and just nail-biting finishes. So let's just hope this weekend is even better. We're going to take a break from... Oh, go on, sorry.
Yeah, just a thing on the special teams. Like, I think all the kickers in the league now must be rubbing their hands together, because we've had it over the years where, like, you got half the teams who are, like, kickers, like, we'll give them, like, last pick of the round in the draft. They're not important to us. And then you've got the teams like Ravens who pay... why is his name escaping me? Ravens kicker, name's escaping
Tucker.
me. Tucker, like, look at him, like how important he is to them and how many times he's saved them, and they pay him respectively and they keep bringing him back. But then, obviously, you got the Patriots model where they never cared on the kicker they had, did they? They just had a different one every week. They had Gostkowski for a while, but apart from that, they've had one every week. But I think now, free field goal wins.
And a tie,
obviously showing how important having that good kicker is.
Oh, exactly.
To your team.
Gay for the Rams is a brilliant kicker. He's won them a few games. Obviously, McPherson, he was drafted. I think this will change how people use the draft. Maybe not, your aggressive drafters such as Jerry Jones or a few other aggressive drafters where it's all about that star, the next big thing. The Bengals, I mean, they seemed pretty aggressive when they went and got Chase. But a lot will change. Like, take a kicker. Don't laugh, don't scoff. I mean, what, a 5th round pick? Is he really going to be your best player ever? No, just take a kicker, because they could be good.
Yeah.
And I've just got some breaking news, actually. I mean, this is a perfect segue, actually, because this was actually going to be our next topic on coaches. And I've got some breaking news. We've got to lead with this one. Sean Payton of the Saints. The Athletic have just reported, I've just got a notification on my phone, he's left the Saints. He's no longer there.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
God, I don't...
First episode.
There's rumours of that, but I didn't think I'd ever see that.
First episode, and you're having to deal with breaking news, so what's your initial reaction?
I mean, he sort of, you could kind of feel he wasn't really in it anymore. Like, I know because they lost Breeze and it was just a bit of it's more like a rebuild to him, wasn't it? Because they couldn't go out and just find that quarterback straight away. Because
they had Winston.
Obviously the cap trouble they've got. They've probably got the worst cap trouble out of any of the teams.
It was the worst.
Yeah, so I just think, maybe he's had his career. He's run his ring. Maybe he's just like, or maybe he might be up for a new challenge. You might be like, all these jobs that are going now. I fancy having one of them.
Interestingly, you should say that it does say in the piece by The Athletic and Ian Rappaport that he will take some time away just to be with his family. He lives in Dallas. Jerry Jones, a big admirer. Could that force an unconsidered? So yeah, it's just crazy. Like you said, it's a rebuild. They drafted a quarterback. They had Hill. They had Winston, who started before he did his ACL. They went through like 5 quarterbacks. Obviously,
I'm not convinced on Winston though.
No, I'm not.
I've never been convinced on him.
See, he's 700 picks a year. Doesn't help him. But yeah,
he has as many picks as touchdowns. So
that's you can't be starting for a good team if that's your record. But yeah, I just think his heart wasn't in it. And I don't know if you've known, there's a Netflix series at the moment, like a comedy one, of the year he got suspended. For
I was thinking about watching. I've not watched that yet.
Yeah, and obviously he did take a year out in his 16 years as the Saints coach.
Yeah, he coached his kids' team.
Because he was. I forgot the reason why he was actually suspended. I think it was like some illegal thing he did, tapping players or something like that, or being aggressive to someone. So he got a year ban. But yeah, he's called time at the Saints. And Jerry Jones said this week on radio, contrary to what his son said, that McCarthy will absolutely be coming back, that he's got a lot of thinking to do about these coaches. Because, he's going to lose Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore to a head coaching job, no matter what.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. Yeah,
Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, I think, has interviewed for every job. He's the favourite for every job. Everyone wants him.
The Giants apparently really want him though. He's their number one apparently. Yeah,
go to Denver, mate. Go to the AFC. Just get away. See you.
But Dan Quinn, I know, he wants probably to jump up to the head coach and prove it again. But the Falcons didn't really.
Oh yeah,
give him any.
Other than the Super Bowl,
he didn't do well there, did he?
Other than the Super Bowl year, they were pretty average. That's what I was shocked when we got him last year. I was like, well, is he really going to help improve that defense? We just beat them 43-0 last year. I think we smashed him again this year though. So maybe
it's like what he's known for. He's known for his defense, isn't he? He's defensive coordinator at the end of the day. But when he was at the Falcons, the defense was non-existent.
So he's going to lose one of them, and maybe Mike McCarthy's pushed out now, and we try and tempt Sean Payton.
What's your thoughts on that? Would you have that? Would you swap McCarthy?
I'd snap your hand off. Right now, because I loved McCarthy when we first got him. I was like, wow, Super Bowl winner, guy who's worked with Aaron Rodgers. But he's just a bit of a buffoon, really. Jason Garrett had more fight than him. When you're at a podium, I'm like, that guy inspires me with confidence. And Mike McCarthy's a bit of a blumbering idiot. Jason Garrett quite hard. He obviously was a cowboy man, but Sean Payton's that sort of way as well. He takes no prisoners. He doesn't take any crap. He'll say it how it is. He gets a bit angry at times as well, which I like.
Yeah,
I do like a fiery sort of character. But the Bears have got a new GM, so they're going to be stepping up their head coaching pursuit. Dan Quinn, favourite for that one too. So I just thought I'd talk about that though. So Sean Payton is no longer with the Saints. So that's a 9th head coaching opportunity. We've got an NFL now.
They are definitely a full rebuild. We're probably talking 3 or 4 years before they're going to be close to challenging again now, because they've got so many players to get rid of.
I wonder who they'll target. Michael Thomas has surely got to go if he's after the year he had, with the injuries, and then he blamed the Saints for the injuries, and the operation. So
they're going to be like the Jaguars. They're just going to be picking up draft picks after draft picks, aren't they? They're going to have so much leverage in terms of draft picks that they'll be all right. But it's just they're going to be quite. I would take that job if I was a head coach,
Oh,
like,
yes,
if was a head
I
coach,
really like the Saints. Yeah, if you want a
because
project,
I prefer to go to a team where you've got a bit of work to do than go where you're just gonna plug in and go.
and
Because if you can go in there and you have to change everything, they're all going to adopt your philosophy of football and the way you want to play. And every player that you get in is going to be one of your football players. But say Sean Payton goes to the Cowboys, for instance, like you hope he is, he's just going to plug in. Like, you know how they say, a quarterback takes you to the next level? Like, Sean Payton will take the Cowboys to the next level. But Sean Payton's going to be able to do that because he's Sean Payton. Like, he gets respect whenever he walks in a room. But if you get someone like Kellen Moore, who's only ever been a offensive coordinator, and then he's going to go to a team like no way it's going to happen, but like Bills are established. So say Kellen Moore went to the Bills, like he's going to have a hard time trying to get his philosophy around because they play a certain way that works for them. Whereas someone like Sean Payton, who knows what he's doing, he can go to a team like who's already established and change things. But if I was a young offensive or defensive coordinator looking for my first job, I'd be favouring a team where I can rebuild it. The spotlight's not going to be on you for at least 3 or 4 years, so you can just be in the background. So I'm quite surprised that Joe Judge got let go from the Giants. Like, I know he's not been great, but they haven't got a great team.
No, but the reports I saw, he was a bit of an angry guy. He wasn't a nice person.
Yeah, he wasn't very good to the press.
And also,
he didn't sell the New York's the biggest market in America, isn't it? So possibly the world. So you probably need someone who's gonna be a good role model for your club, and he wasn't, was he? So
no.
I guess that's why they got rid of him.
But so that's the coaching update for now. We will probably have more next week when we look back at the championship games. We'll probably have a few more coaching roles filled up, and we'll have some lined up for the Saints. So now, looking forward to this weekend, the championship games. Who will be at Super Bowl 56 at SoFi in Los Angeles? Who will be going home thinking what could have been? I was 0 for 4 last week as the unpredictable NFL. I fancied the Titans number 1. I fancied the Packers. I fancied Tom Brady, although I said they are beat up and the Rams could do it. And I said Bills, and none of it happened. So it can't be worse.
I got one right.
There we go.
I got one right. So I had Titans, I had the Packers. I actually got the Rams right.
You did.
And then I had Bills. So, yeah, when I woke up Sunday morning, I was like, oh, that's my accumulator gone already.
So, yeah, we're actually going to talk a bit about betting. We'll probably go for another 5 minutes, almost an hour long this, which is great because it's gone so fast. But we'll start in the AFC Championship game, Sunday at UK at 8:05. I don't really want to convert that. 3:05 Eastern, noon West. There you go. Because I'm smart like that. Quick maths. The Chiefs are 7-point favourites going into this game, and they are odds, the evens for that. Actually, that's pretty good. And the Bengals you can get at 5-6 odds on. So yeah, I fancy the Chiefs in this game. Obviously, the Bengals, as we discussed, don't have an offensive line.
Yeah,
you can't go into Arrowhead. You can't win 2 games back to back if you've got sacked more than 5 times. Burrow's a brilliant quarterback, but Mahomes he's just bloody special. And when you've got Kelsey, you've got Hill, you've got Andy Reid, he's the guru. He's been here, done it all before with Eagles. He's and you've got Zach Taylor, who, to be honest, I didn't really even know his name till about a few weeks ago. He's not having, before Burrow, people thinking he's going to get fired, and now he's in the FC Championship game. So before a quarterback, if you think he'll get fired, and it'll probably it'll calm down in a year or 2, and you'll probably still be fired anyway. But I fancy the Chiefs, and I do like the 7-point advantage. Even as hot as the offense can be for the Cincinnati Bengals, I just feel the Chiefs can just pile points on you, and odds on 1-1 for every pound you put on you, pound you get back. is pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs at a 7-point favourite. I'd put that on. And for a first touchdown, I mean, you can't look past Jamar Chase, obviously. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins' last touchdown, no. I'm just having a look through a few of the bets. Probably should have got this up. This will be part of my research for next week. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, 300 passing yards each at 3-1. I'd definitely lump a tenner on that.
That's definitely one I'm going to be looking at anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, who do you fancy in this game? And
so I mean, I'm with you. I obviously fancy the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a lot better of a game than we think. Like, if you look at the map, I know it's week 17, and normally, teams in week 17 are already in the playoffs. They'll rest players and things, but the Chiefs did play their first team, and they kept Kelsey and Hill to 65 yards in total between them.
If they'd have won that, they'd have been the number one seed, the Chiefs. Yeah. So it didn't cost them that. It wasn't a nothing game.
Yeah, so they have got an underrated secondary, the Bengals. Obviously, they don't. The pass rush isn't great, but even if you have a good pass rush, are you going to get to Mahomes? Because he'll see you coming and get out of the pocket anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's more about making sure he's not got that open looks, or he's got to do something spectacular to find someone. So if they've proven that they can keep Kelsey and Hill quiet, then he's got to go to somebody else. And when he gets down to that, the Chiefs have got weapons and weapons and weapons. Like, that's not a problem, but if you can try and keep Kelsey and Hill, it'll give Bengals a chance to at least keep it, within a smaller window. And hopefully, if they just play out of their minds and Burrows doesn't get sacked as much as he does, then we could actually have an upset. But I am going to take the Chiefs because obviously I'm not crazy. I will ride an underdog story if I believe in it, and I do believe in the Bengals. But
I'm rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah, but 3 points. I think it's only going to be either a 3-point or at least one score difference. I don't think it's going to be an absolute whitewash.
Wow, I was going to suggest 34-27 for the score. Perfect 7 points.
Because they're both going to score. Chiefs are no unbelievable team on defense. They just go for we're going to outscore you. And that's how they won the Super Bowl. They're going to outscore you. At the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You can either stop you scoring, or we'll just score more than you. No, so I can see a one score or just a field goal difference. My heart says Bengals, but it's got to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, I just thought we'll go 0-6 in the playoffs. Yeah. So that's what I want the Bengals to win, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Yeah. So if the Bengals do win, I'm happy. But
yeah, I'll happily take that loss as well.
I'll happily take this pick loss if the Bengals win, but I don't want to pick the Bengals and the Chiefs win. I'm just sad and sad. So
you know what we've got to do though. If we back the Chiefs and the Bengals win, we can't back the Chiefs in the Super Bowl because we're just going to give them bad luck. We're just going to have to go the other team no matter what.
So the second game. The NFC Championship game from the place the Super Bowl were held, the Los Angeles Rams and the 49ers. They are giving Los Angeles a 3.5-point favourites in this game, which I don't think I agree with. I think, given what happened at Week 18, the 49ers have been playing playoff football since Week 18. If they didn't win that Rams game, they were going home. They were going on their jolly holidays. They've been playing playoff football for 3 weeks now. They've been going to stadiums. They've gone to SoFi. They've gone to TNT Stadium, AT&T Stadium, and they've gone to Lambeau, and they've won all 3, and they've looked convincing in all 3. I'm going to go 49ers in this game. Yeah. I just think they are on a roll. Kyle Shanahan is on a roll again. I thought earlier this season, they were 3-6 at one point, and then they were 7-1 in their last 8. It was a crazy. I thought, the 49ers have really died out. They need to get rid of Jimmy G quick. It's a rebuild there. But then you start looking at that team. George Kittle, he's been very quiet in the playoffs, but it doesn't take a lot to get him going. Deebo Samuel, of course, is their main guy at the moment. I remember that NFC Championship game from a few years ago. It was Mostert, the running back, who just had came out of nowhere, had a mad game, 400 yards, mad running, 4 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel can have. I'm not going to say he's going to get that many, but he'll have a big game. And that defensive front where you've got Bosa, Bosa is a bad man. He can cause some problems. As good as that offensive line is for the Rams, that can give Stafford some protection. I just think I'm fancying 49ers here, just because what you said earlier, when the pressure is turned up to boiling point, can the Rams handle it? And there's got to be a lot of expectations. It's their home ground. It'll be a home Super Bowl. I just think they're crack. Matt Stafford never been to an NFC Championship game before. It's different gravy. I don't think. I mean, OBJ's never been to one either. There's a lot of players on that team that will have the experience, and I think they're crack. And the 49ers will be playing the Chiefs once again. I didn't think at the start of the season I'd be saying that for the 49ers looked a long way away from this game, but they'll be back and they'll want revenge.
Right, so I didn't plan this because I've got my notes here, but nice little competition between us both. I'm actually backing the Rams.
Oh, wow.
So I think this game's going to be won and lost on the defensive lines. Like, you've got the Rams, you've got Donald, you've got Miller, and then you've even got Floyd as well. But, let's not sleep on 49ers. We've got Armstead and Bosa, so I think it's going to be Garoppolo and Stafford. They're not going to have a lot of time on the ball.
No.
And the Rams are quite a long run. Like, they like a big play. They like Cooper Kupp getting right up there. And I don't think they're going to have that time to get that. So it's going to be a lot of short runs. And I think it's going to be a big run game, run team game. And I think whoever can establish that run is going to win it for me. And I think that Rams, they run by committee, don't they? Right? They've got Akers. But then, Akers isn't their number one. They've got Sony Michel.
I really like Sony Michel. I was shocked that the Pats got rid of him, actually. He had a really good breakout year in New England. And I think he was part of their Super Bowl winning team against the Rams, actually.
He was,
year. And the year after he didn't have, I think he got an injury, and then he was just off to the Rams. But good pick up by them, especially when Todd Gurley fell off the face of the earth somehow. Sitting on the Falcons bench now for the rest of the
Very weird, that, wasn't it? Because he got his big contract and then he had that arthritis in his knee and he was just done for. But I know running backs don't have a long career, but he looked like he was entering his prime and have 2 or 3 years maybe at the level he was at, and then he would start to slowly drop off. Like Saquon Barkley, he was bloody brilliant, but this year, I mean, it was his first year back from his ACL, but he's not looked the Saquon Barkley that he was. But I think, so going on what I was saying, the only thing that's taking my confidence away with the Rams is just a bit like Akers. Are they going to trust him? I know they did because they put him straight back in it, but then he fumbled again. So he fumbled on the 2-yard line, and then I thought, right, so the McVay can either be a really good coach here and just put him straight back in and say, right, doesn't matter, keep going, you've done well. Then he did it again, and it could have costed them because they give up good field positions to the Buccaneers there. So if he has a good week and he doesn't let this eat him up inside, and he comes out on Sunday and he has a good couple of runs, keeps hold of the ball, confidence is back up, then I'll feel confident by the Rams. But I am going to say Rams by at least 1 score. I think it's going to be close like the other one. I think we're getting to that point now where you're not going to get a blowout win. I know Chiefs look like they could just absolutely blow the Bengals over, but the Bengals won't be there if that was going to happen. They won't be in that round of the playoffs. And it's also the 49ers. It's just the 49ers for me. The only thing that's letting me down is Garoppolo. He's not.
That's my biggest concern.
I know, Brady, there was that old thing about, he threw his toys out the pram and he went to the owner, didn't he? And
I don't want him here.
He went to Kraft and was like, I'm going to leave if you don't get rid of Garoppolo, and then he was traded and Belichick was annoyed about it. But did Belichick see something in him that we've not seen with the 49ers? But
I've got an interesting question for you.
He looked good in his first year. He looked good in his first year, didn't he? When he signed for the 49ers, you thought, you know what, he is the real deal. He is good, and then he had that injury,
which
and then
Jimmy G has a lot of, and that's why I mean, it's crazy. Like his overall record, he's only played like 40 games or so in his whole career, which is crazy to think 'cause he's been around for quite a while. But I've got a good question for you actually, because I think I don't rate Jimmy G. I just think he's going to be carried for the second time in the 49ers to a Super Bowl by his superior teammates around. But Mac Jones or Jimmy Garoppolo, who is better? I know Mac Jones is a rookie, but would you put has it almost worked out for the Patriots now? You know, they've got rid of him, and Mac Jones is there.
So like, if you ask him, so like, if I could, so if I was the 49ers now, would I take Mac Jones? Or what are you saying, Patriots? So if I'm the Patriots, are
you just like who's had the better season? Who would you prefer just going in
Mac
the long
Jones
run?
for sure. Mac Jones for sure. Like you could argue that he's got Belichick, so he's gonna be good. But
Kyle Shanahan's
he just looks. Mac Jones looks like he's going to be their quarterback for the next 15 years.
You can't see that with Jimmy G because he does have his moments of madness, and he's got injury issues, which as a quarterback you can't have. You need to be there week in, week out. Like Brady never misses matches. Rodgers never misses matches.
No.
But yeah, I like how we're different. We set up a good competition. One of us go be smug next week when someone's at the Super Bowl. And the great thing is we don't know which one, because I've not just done that to be crazy. I genuinely think the only problem I have maybe with the 49ers other than their quarterback is that mental fatigue. They've been on the road, it's been a long journey, 3 weeks of hard football fighting, going down to the wire in every game. The overtime win against the Rams, Dallas almost getting the comeback, and then the crazy win against the Packers. But yeah, it's going to be hopefully, if it's half the weekend this was, we're in for a great weekend. It just needs to be half the weekend just to be a great weekend of football again. I can't wait for it. I'm just excited for Sunday. I wish we had one Saturday, one Sunday, just selfishly in the UK, like one 8 o'clock Saturday, one 8 o'clock Sunday.
You have it lucky, Americans, don't they?
Yeah.
Americans have it lucky. They get to watch it like how we watch football here.
Yeah, exactly. And they get to watch football like they get to watch United
10 o'clock
City.
in the morning.
Yeah, having a beer at that time. It's for life. But it's going to be a great weekend of football.
Being an NFL fan in the UK is never easy, but
it isn't. And
we keep doing it year after year.
I will be suffering at 6 o'clock on Monday the 14th of Feb, getting up for work after a 2 hours sleep.
Just to make you feel better, I'm off work, so I'll be alright.
You'll be able to celebrate the Chiefs winning once again. But this has been the Pick Six podcast discussing all the things NFL. I hope you have enjoyed. It's been a good one. Thank you, Luke, for coming on, and you'll be seeing more of us too. Yeah, you'll be seeing much more of us too over the coming weeks and into the off season for the 2022 season. But until next week, when we will know who our 2 Super Bowl contenders are, I've been Connor. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
There we go.